I'm joined today by Jude. Hello, Jude.
Hello, good morning.
Now, we are talking about all sorts of things today, but not least, I've written it down. I'm probably still going to not get it right, but you've got, I said a play, you said show, because even that throws me. But a noise is a thing that you're doing, which you'll describe better than me. So let's just start there. What is a noise
A
all
noise, a
about?
noise. So a noise, as in a noise, boom, annoys people. It is a show. It's an hour-long solo show by me. It's a mix of poetry, spoken word, silly songs, chatter, nonsense, and lots of joy. There's lots of joining in, and it's designed for families. It's designed really for children aged between 6 and 11 or 12, but it's an intergenerational show. So it's an hour long. It's me doing funny things with words and playing around with the audience and with language.
And if the title in itself, I know you're a little bit anyway, but if the title is itself anything to go by, it promises to be something rather special.
Oh, thank you. I love playing with words. It's just fun. And I love sharing that joy with people. And I love opening up children's minds, particularly to enjoy language. They're so often taught so much grammar and so many rules at school. So I try and dismantle that in a way, or just add to it the joy of playing with language. So we do things like, I have a poem about things that are named after the noise they make, like beepers or bleepers, but not hedgehogs. I have a song about a peanut butter, banana and cheese sandwich. And I talk about how when you're cooking, you have to get the right ingredients in the right order. And when you're making sentences and you want to make sense, you also need the right words in the right order, even the right syllables in the right order in your words and your sentences. And if you don't get the right sounds in the right order, it can spell Siddhartha, I say. So we just mess around a lot with language and create something very joyful together in the theatre.
Having fun is, I think, a much needed infusion in our society. I do like, and maybe I've mentioned this before, I like messing with my middle son, who is very, very good at grammar and what's the correct word for this and what does that word actually mean? And there's a word conflation. And I like to use the word deconflation because it makes sense in my head that if you can conflate something, you can deconflate it. And every time we use it, because it's fun to use it because he doesn't like it, his eyebrow goes up and you can see that, but it's not a word. Yes, but we all know exactly what it means. And the fact is it's having some fun is a good thing.
That's brilliant. I had a similar thing with my oldest two children. My oldest is quite mathematical, and my next one is a little bit more linguistic. And he used to talk about wind turbines, and she would insist on calling them wind turbines because they do turn round. And it drove him absolutely mad, which just made her do it over and over again. So noise and annoyance is quite common, but also yes, that playfulness is great, isn't it?
Play's good. I know I've shared this with you before, but it's got to come out again. I don't remember the name of the author, but she was talking about how to get young children, kind of school age. I'm guessing like 6 to 12 ish, which is your sort of audience here. But she was talking about how do we get them to want to write stories. And if we're teaching them so hard how to write correctly, we're not teaching them how to write with fun. And that's part of being an author. And that's what she was talking about.
Yeah, I think it's tricky, isn't it? Because we want children to learn the rules and the expectations. We want them to be able to give a good account of themselves when they are writing. But also it can slow them down when your thoughts, we're all the same when our thoughts are going crazy and we've got lots of ideas to write down. The last thing we're thinking about is the correct capitalization and grammar. So in a sense, teaching editing is also really important, to be free to write and talk and whatever, and then to be able to go back and check something is such a vital skill that I'm not sure our school does teach that fairly well with purple pens and things. But yes, just allowing the fun and the ideas to flow is super important for children. So that's one of the things that we very much do together in the show.
Which I especially like. I think you've got something that you can share with us. What is it you wanted to give us some joy?
So I do various poems in the show, and I also have a poetry collection out again for 6 to 12 year old children. Hopefully, more than 6 to 12 children will buy it. It's called A Noise Annoys, and it's got all the poems from the show, but lots of others as well. So this one is just a really simple, short example of messing around with words. It's called Short of Shorts. Carl opened his drawer on Thursday and found he had no shorts. I'm short of shorts, he yelled to his dad. Well, you'll have to wear long trousers today, Dad replied. Your shorts are in the wash, so you won't be short for long. The shorts that you long for will be with you shortly. OK? Sure, said Carl.
I like that. There are some great words though in their English language, aren't there? That they make sense when reading and read and all the rest of it, leading and led, and they're so similar. And when you see somebody who's not English with a first language trying desperately to think, but it's the wrong word, like Worcestershire sauce. That's not how you say it. There was a place where I grew up, Halfpenny Green, and somebody said, "Where's Halfpenny Green? Do you mean Halfpenny?" Because that's how we pronounced it. Because that was the local language, and of course it's correct. Things like Leicester. No, Leicester.
Yeah.
It's great.
English place names or British place names, but English ones included, are great fun. Some of them are absolutely bonkers, aren't they? And our spelling is fairly inscrutable as well. And that's hard. It's hard for people to learn as a foreign language, but we have so much vocabulary in English, which does make it a fun language to play around with.
Yes, I completely agree. Hence deconflation. So the show Noise Annoys. How do you get to the place where you've got an idea, the name's going to come at some point, maybe it's a working title that developed, and you have something to put on? How do you get from A, here's an idea, to B, an audience is enjoying what you're doing? Take us through the journey.
Oh, great. Thank you for asking that, because people often just it doesn't occur to them how much work and time and development has gone into it. But also, I've got a favourite saying that a friend of mine says. She says, there's no such thing as a solo performer. And it's so true, because although it's only me on stage, there's so many people that have been involved. So about 4 years ago, I started writing poems for children and found that I had this noise. And so the book is subtitled Poems That Play Around with the Way Words Sound. And I found I was writing lots of children's poems to do with sounds and wordplay and noise. I approached some agents and publishers with that, but it's very difficult to get an agent unless you're already earning lots of money, which is fair enough. They've got to earn as well. So that sort of went on the back burner. But then I live near Cambridge, and I belong to an artist development scheme at my local theatre, because I've always loved performing just as much as I love writing. So I thought, well, what if I take some of these poems and perform them? So I did what's called a scratch night, where you get 10 minutes to just try out a new idea. And I did just 3 or 4 poems from the collection I'd been writing, and I performed them, and it went down really well. There was like a mixed audience, different ages, and people really liked it. And the producer at the Junction, at the end of that 10 minutes, said to me, would you like to do a work in progress show of a half hour in 5 months' time? So that was amazing. So it's just often someone seeing a little bit of potential in you. So 5 months later, I'd created half an hour of material, which I performed. I was actually really disappointed with it. There were loads of things I wanted to change. Literally, as soon as I was 5 minutes in, I was like, oh, why have I done this way? Oh, it should be that way. But sometimes there are things that you just don't see until you're on stage performing something. So that was a great process. From there, I had lots of then I did photo shoots. This is also the crazy thing. The flyer I've got, which I'm showing you on video, but obviously it won't work on a radio, but it's got loads of pictures and graphics and things. Well, a lot of those are quite old, because you've got to produce all your marketing materials really before the show is finished. So I was doing that at the same time. Then I managed to get myself on a scheme called Key Seeds, which is sponsored by another theatre, this time in Peterborough. So they sort of commissioned and sponsored and supported me to finish developing the show. And they actually hosted my first tour date, which was in May this year. And I performed at their studio theatre, the final version of A Noise Annoys. And in between that, I'd had some people that helped me with direction, some people that helped me with tour booking and production. I had this amazing lady, Georgia Whiteman, who helped me, who made my props for me. So I had been performing with cardboard boxes with stuck on labels. But since I had the support of the Key Theatre in Peterborough, that came with a bit of funding. I was able to pay her to make these beautiful boxes that I now pile on top of each other, and some of them have got words and letters on, and we move them around sort of at various points in the show to sort of make different words and ideas. So it all came together really. And then so from 2021 right through to May 2025 is the A to B, I think, of your question.
this is the bit we don't see. We turn up to something, whether it's a musician, whether it's someone like yourself with a show, and we see the bit you perform. We think, well, a bit pricey, isn't it? And we don't think about the fact that for you to stand on that stage, well, someone's had to open the door, put the lights on, put the heating on. There has to be chairs, has to be maintenance. There's probably a crew behind there. You got sound, and that's just one theatre. And you had to get to the theatre or the church or the play hall or wherever you are. And you have to drive there in a car that doesn't just run on air. It has fuel in it and tyres. And all of a sudden, all this starts to make sense. Hence why I asked the question that you asked, because I think it's fascinating to most people how much goes in. We see a tiny little snippet, the play, which isn't the tiniest bit at all, but it's the only bit we get to see. I mean, it's the whole journey there, like someone who's had to design boxes.
Yeah. You see them and they look great, but you don't kind of think, oh, I bet they were just cardboard shoeboxes at the beginning, and now she's got them commissioned from a professional prop maker. So no, it's been great. It's been a great journey, to be honest. I'm very proud. I'm proud of myself, and I'm proud of the people that I've worked with. And I've also involved children in the development as well. So with my book, quite early on, I sent it out to 20 or 30 children of the right sort of age that I knew, and they were my beta readers and gave me some feedback on that as well. I got them to mark all the poems out of 10 to see which ones they liked best, because people won't say, oh, this is rubbish or I don't like it. But if you make them sort of give something a score, then you can quickly see which ones only get 5 and which ones are loved by everybody.
Let's just go back to the creating the marking material for the end before you begin part, because I mean, I edit a magazine, I run a radio station, so I'm always thinking ahead about what would have been before or after. So my brain naturally sort of thinks, yeah, I get that. That makes sense to me. We're publishing a magazine. I've already got December's on the go. We're in the summer. It's a long way away, but it's not. How did you start specifically then working out what the end was going to be before you got there?
Yeah, great question. Well, I think for me, this show is really consistent with what I've always done. So this is the first time I've performed and toured a family show, but I have toured shows before, solo shows of spoken word, comedy and music. I was doing that kind of 25 years ago, taking things to the Edinburgh Festival. And I've always loved witty wordplay, silly songs, playing with language, and then throwing in some kind of more meaningful lyrical poems and some thoughts, things that are just affirm people as part of that. So this show is really consistent with my genre, if you like. So I knew the kind of show it would be before I knew the exact content. You're right that A Noise Annoys was a title that came to me quite early, which I'm really glad about, because sometimes people create a whole play or a whole show or a whole novel and they're not quite sure what it's called, and it's quite important to be able to call it something, preferably the same thing all the time. So that helped. And then one of the trickier things is actually the trailer, because again, you need to generally create a trailer quite early. So I've got a lovely trailer that I got a professional videographer to do and film and edit. And that's of my work in progress. And many parts of that I was totally not pleased with. So it's quite a different show to what I've ended up, but because you can take the bits that are still representative of what you know is going to stay in the show for the final version. So it's a little bit of a juggling act, but that's basically how it worked. And I got my designer. I mean, my designer was brilliant. She came up with the colours and the font and things, which again, seems obvious. People don't, in a sense, give it a second glance, but it needs to be and look consistent with the genre of your show. So if you're doing a fun show that's really appealing and fun to join in with and easy to access, then your publicity materials need to look like that as well. So my flyers and posters have all got this crazy picture of me with a funny look on my face, playing the guitar with one arm in the air. And that's quite a recognisable image. It looks fun, it looks family. And hopefully appealing.
One of my books I've written, the second one, it's about random thoughts that we have. And I thought, what do I do for cover art? And it's this very bright yellow with a very much clip art frog that looks really naff. And then there's an ice cream cone. And it's meant to be completely random and make no sense because of the content of the book. I look at it and think, it makes sense. When you see the cover, you think, who designed this? A 5-year-old who doesn't know how to use a computer. Well, I did that on purpose. But sometimes we can actually create a bit of fun from stuff that just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Someone commented to me just the other day. She said, "Your work is a bit like making a den at home." She said, and I was like, "What?" She said, "Because you take ordinary things, you take ordinary words that we all know, but you make something really exciting about them. You put them together in a new way and in a creative way, so that we all recognise it. But you've done something, you've made something completely new." And I loved that. I just thought, "Oh, that's great." You know, when kids just pull the sheets off their beds and use clothes pegs to attach them to the curtains and the sofa and things, and then they've made this beautiful home that they want to live in for the rest of their lives. I thought, yeah, I'll take that. I'm happy to have poetry and performance that feels like a den.
I love the sound of that because the process of making a den is utterly random. It looks completely stupid and unsafe. And yet, with just a tiny bit of imagination, you've just designed Buckingham Palace in your lounge.
Yeah. And you love sitting in it. And yes. I think, yeah, that's exactly how I want people to feel when they come to my show. I want them to just be like, "Oh, I'm so glad I'm here. This is really fun. And I feel at home."
Which reminds me of, we'd moved house, we had loads of big boxes, and the lads said, can we have a fort? So we took over the entire lounge, which was quite large. And I just went to town with old cardboard boxes and parcel tape, which we had plenty of from moving house, and made a mammoth city of forts effectively in the lounge.
Brilliant.
Didn't last forever. It's cardboard. It's going to sag. It's going to go. But it was great fun. And it's just random stuff that we had in surplus.
Yes. Yeah, it's great. And that is pure creativity, isn't it? You take what you've got and you make something fun and wonderful out of it. So, yeah.
Awesome. Have you got something else that you can help us to enjoy?
Yeah. I thought I would do you my Pingers and Poppers poem, and then we might talk about where I'm touring.
Fab.
So this is the poem, I think I referenced it earlier, where we talk about things that are named after the noise they make, and some things are and some things aren't. So I'll do you the beginning of this one. Pingers always ping, and poppers always pop. Beepers beep and bleepers bleep, and plopping things go plop. Clippers always clip, but horses clip and clop. Pips can pop right out and you can watch a drip drop. Flippers clap together, making flappy sounds of joy, but slippers stop you slipping and make very little noise. Many things go boom, especially if they burst, but if you want to dong, you have to ding first. Ding dong.
I love that one. Because you mentioned a couple of those things just in passing before, but we came on. But I love the fact that slippers help us not slip, and it's that sort of stuff. Which to me, my brain goes, "Yeah, makes sense. That I get that."
Yeah, it's fun, isn't it? And I love the look on kids' faces when I perform that one, and you can sort of see little pennies dropping and go, "Oh yes, horses clip and clop, but clippers only clip, and drips drop and drops drip." And oh yeah, it's great. It's great.
Fab. So if people are thinking this sounds like fun, or can we get this in our local area? One, how do they get hold of you? You'll come to that. But where are you actually going to be touring this?
So I've got loads of dates from the end of September right through to the beginning of November. And they include Royston in Hertfordshire. I'm doing the Arts Festival there. I'm doing Lambeth Fringe Festival at, this is my only gig I've ever done in a farm. Vauxhall City Farm is hosting me for the Lambeth Festival at the beginning of October. I'm going to Dorchester in Dorset. I'm going to St Neots and Shelford and Cherry Hinton Library in Cambridge. Then I'm doing a whole long weekend down west, long way west, where I've got a poetry gig in Hereford, at the Courtyard Theatre. That'll be lovely. I've got one in Wales at Park Arts, and I'm also doing Weston-super-Mare. They've got a great studio theatre in Weston-super-Mare called The Front Room. Then I'm coming back a little closer to home on the 30th of October. That's still in half term. I'm doing the Place Theatre in Bedford, and still quite a few in the pipeline. So you can keep an eye on my website if you're not near any of those, which is judesimpson.co.uk.
JudeSimpson.co.uk. Go there and find out if you can get to this. And I'm guessing, because I think this way, if people wanted to book you and think, do you know what, we'd like that, can Jude come and do that for us and our people, whether that's a church or a community centre or what have you? Are they allowed to get hold of you and say, can you help us with this?
Oh, they totally are allowed and welcome. Yeah, so a lot of my shows are in kind of what we call proper theatres, but quite a few of them are in community halls or village halls or hosted by churches or community groups or even schools. So yes, contact me through my website, judesimpson.co.uk, or socials, I'm Jude Simpson Words, and we can have a conversation about whether I can make it up to your way.
I do love the fact that there is something for families, which has always been my biggest passion and heart. It's not how do we reach this group or that group, but how do we get families to be together? We saw during COVID, didn't we? It was quite stressful as families suddenly found themselves together every day, all day. And then that sort of ended, and some thought we liked it and some thought we really didn't like that. But actually, getting families together to me is a good thing.
It's a brilliant thing. I've literally just got the postman drawn up at my window. Can we include him in the interview?
I think that's probably fine.
Thank you. There we go. I've got a whole stack of books ordered that have all arrived in the middle of Pure 24/7 radio interview.
That's fine. Hey,
live
look,
creativity.
Life happens, and it doesn't pause just because we might want it to.
I'll have to put a notice up on the window next time. Do not interrupt.
But I think interrupting your schedule with coming to see you would be good. JudeSimpson.co.uk if you want to know more. Either get a booking with Jude, or if you want to go and find out if you can get to where she's performing this amazing show. I've known you a little bit for a little while, and I love what you're doing. So I really hope it goes well. And
Thank you so much.
Bookings.
And I also should have mentioned that if you can't make it to a show, I always sell the books after the show, and then I'm there to sign them and things. But you can also get my book on Amazon. Just search for Noise Annoys, Jude Simpson, and it's there. It's priced at £7.99. Bargain.
I would say a bargain. Are there any more links you need to share, or are we good?
I think that's good. Yeah, Jude Simpson, Facebook and Instagram. I'm fairly easy to find as long as you know my name.
That's fine. I was just thinking with somebody arriving with a post. Sometimes it's like, what was that about? But this is life, though, isn't it? Life doesn't wait for us to be ready.
Not even on Zoom.
No. Right, Jude, it's been a pleasure as always. Thank you for sharing some poems. A noise. Go and find that on Amazon, and judesimpson.co.uk for all the stuff you can ever need and more to book Jude or come and see her perform her show.
Brilliant.
Thank you, Jude.
Thank you so much. Been lovely to talk to you.
Pure Media, the magazine, comes out on the first Friday every month. Our next edition comes out for September on the 5th of September and will be crammed full of amazing writers, features and columns. If that's not enough, we'll be delving deeper into the life and times of Jennifer Benson from US-based Ignescent. And if you love Lego, we'll be chatting with a man who gets to play with Lego every day. That'll be Josh from Go Chatter Studios. The digital version is always freely available online, and you can enjoy a printed subscription and get a copy in your hands too. Just head over to www.puremediathemagazine.com, where we're always on point and always in print.